We all have those games that just scream childhood to us. Games which have been completely rooted in your brain, no matter whether they were bad or good, because simply seeing or hearing that game brings you back to simpler times. It could just be a piece of music that brings us back, or seeing a specific character or location. But these childhood games hold a special place in our hearts. So today, I'm bringing you one of my childhood games. Soul Blade for the PS1. Now I know what you're thinking, Scarfulhu. This isn't even a point and click. Not even a PC game. What's wrong with you? What? I can't have layers? Ah yes, Soul Blade, the precursor to the beloved Soul Calibur series. If Soul Blade doesn't ring any bells, then maybe you know it as Soul Edge. But it's the same game, and the same series. And I think some people forget that sometimes. The game was released on PS1 in January of 1997, which is exactly the same month and year as I was released. We twinsies. And of course the game was published by good old Namco. As a kid, this game blew my mind. While a lot of fighting games I had played at the time were locked to 2D planes, this one fully utilised 3D environments, which was awesome. I loved the characters and I loved the stages, and it was just so dear to me. But I really want to know how it holds up now. I mean, as a kid I didn't really have the best taste in games, I'll be honest. The game begins with an FMV intro that's actually pretty good. None of that creepy, uncanny valley Tekken stuff. I swear the FMV in Tekken 2 scared me as a kid to the point of never actually wanting to play the game. Seriously, Heihachi spooked me. Maybe it's just my nostalgia talking, but this intro has so much emotion behind it. I think it might also be due to the fact that the theme, which is called Edge of Soul, is just so brilliant. If you're a long-term fan of my videos, you might recognise that I used this theme in my first 2 top 10 videos. That's how much I love this theme. Here we're introduced to the cast of characters, and without any word it tells you who they are and why acquiring the legendary Soul Edge is so important to them. You can see that Taki is a demon slayer, Seung Mina has this Mulan thing going on, Voldo just likes flipping about like the awesome weirdo he is. And how about Rock with his adopted son, Bangu? Bangu! Oh, bless him. He's a big softie, that one. So starting off we'll go into arcade mode because that's the mode I remember the most, and it's basically the first thing you'll go to. Arcade mode is just your basic ladder system, you know? Fight all these characters that get progressively harder and harder to fight until you fight the malevolent spirit within the Soul Edge itself. You'll start off being all cocky and thinking, hey, this is easy, but by the last fight you'll be getting pretty upset about that damn skeleton jelly thing. I think I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but I don't necessarily review games like this often, or at all. So I'm just playing this by ear and seeing what happens, I suppose. Now as a kid I always played Cervantes. Cervantes is a Spanish pirate with 2 swords, an amazing little beard, and the coolest win lines.
Offer your spirit.
What's your poison? Rum? Tequila? I'm more of a bourbon man myself. And he also has this super badass laugh. Maybe that would creep some kids out, but that was my character. That was me. Cervantes was my main man. He's got a damn sassy outfit and moveset too. Strong, but not too slow. Also, I've never really bothered to learn the combos for the characters in this game, but I never found them that necessary anyway. Basically, if you learn to block, crouch, and use the right attacks at the right time, you can eventually beat an opponent, no matter how much they might suck to play against sometimes. All the characters in this game are brimming with personality, and you can see this in their win animations and fighting styles. For instance, we can see that Huang is a bit of a cocky guy. So, Huang, how high can you hold your leg? Hey! Oh, I see, yeah, okay. It's fascinating, yeah. Relearning the gameplay here reminded me how fun this game is. The basics are that triangle is a vertical attack, square is a horizontal attack, circle is a kick, and X is guarding. It doesn't deviate too far from the norm there, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. One thing I really like about this game over other fighting games I've played is the combat is really quick and visceral. You've really got to be on your toes or else you get taken advantage of. For instance, if you lie on the ground a little too long, you might get beaten while you're down. A little bit rude, but you know. But if you are down, you can also take advantage of an unaware opponent and swipe them. The combat in this game is exciting and nothing feels cheap. Well, maybe the throws are a little bit irritating, but it's not terrible. I mean, sometimes you will get a little frustrated trying to beat a character, but once you figure out the things they do and finally take them down or push them up, it's incredibly satisfying. Not to mention there's also this weapon bar at the top that signifies your weapon health. If the bar runs out, you'll be disarmed. Well, I say that. Cervantes can still destroy me without his 2 overpowered mega swords. I think this style of combat is what really set this game apart from others at the time. Not that there's anything wrong with Tekken or Mortal Kombat, but Soul Blade was always the one that drew me back in. In addition, the arcade ladder offers both good and bad endings for each character. Interestingly, these alternate endings are based on interactive button presses. If you fail the button press, you get the bad ending, but if you do it right, then you get the good ending. Some of the endings are okay, I guess. The others, well, you've got stuff like this. Or even...
Sophitia, you have destroyed the evil Solid.
Oh, yeah, you're feeling alright, dude. You don't look so good. You've kind of got a serious case of sprite face. But yeah, these endings aren't hugely substantial. They're simple and not overly satisfactory, but they're a cute little way to end your arcade ladder. Although some of the bad endings don't actually feel that bad. In Sophitia's so-called bad ending, she's still having some cutesy birds come up to her. So maybe it's more appropriate to refer to them as endings A and B, with B being the better ending, I suppose. Come on! I think my favourite bad ending is Mitsurugi's bad ending. You actually have to beat a mini-game where you dodge bullets for this one, but it's so bizarrely sudden that I was completely caught off guard by it. And so Mitsurugi gets shot because... Can't be sword! And then he laments that he can't beat a guy with a gun. Oh, bless. Oh yeah, and this is a thing, apparently. So, like I mentioned earlier, the final boss of the arcade ladder is the spirit of the Soul Edge itself, manifesting in the body of Cervantes. This boss can be really tricky, but it's actually just a souped up Cervantes. Although sometimes you can just push him off the edge and it's just like... out of the ring. Oh. The best part is, though, that you can unlock Soul Edge if you beat the arcade mode as every character. And you know what? I didn't even know this as a kid. My poor child self had no idea what wonders awaited him if only he hadn't only played Cervantes. To be fair though, while I still like Cervantes the best, I found a couple of other characters I really enjoy playing as now as well. Seung Mina is incredibly good, and I actually got my best arcade time with her. Siegfried is also pretty good because his triangle attack is incredibly powerful and difficult to block. It outsmarted the computer many times. But arcade mode isn't the only mode in Soul Blade. Obviously you have your versus and practice modes, but there's something called Edge Master mode. Now from the title you probably don't know what this mode is, unless you played the game, in which case...
I'm sorry.
Now, Edge Master Mode sounds like a mode where you make offensive comments on the internet for the sake of being offensive, but it's actually a pretty unique mode for a fighting game, where you traverse the world and collect weapons off your opponents with different stats. The matches in this mode will sometimes have these little mutators as well, like sometimes you'll fight a foe who regenerates, sometimes you'll fight more than one enemy in a location, and sometimes you'll be poisoned. It's a really cool alternate mode, and it's quite baffling because it looks like it was actually programmed by one guy. So thanks Takashi, you really are an Edge Master. The weird thing about Edge Master is I never really played it when I was younger. I guess having Master in the title, it sounded a little hard. I mean, yeah, it really can be, but how did I never try this? You know, as a kid, I never really played this game to its full potential. But even as an adult now, when I've played everything and seen what the game has to offer, it really stands up. Soul Blade is one of those games that truly stood out to me on the PS1. I mean, there are a lot of games on the PS1 that I adore, but Soul Blade is definitely up there alongside games like Spyro and Crash. And for a PS1 game, Soul Blade still looks fantastic. The characters are vibrant and easily recognisable through silhouette and colour, and the stages even have dynamic time zones. You can be fighting at both day and night at the same arena, and it just looks awesome. The lighting is great too, and it's just such a graphically impressive game when you consider the fact that it's PS1. It managed to make people look like people, which is something the console didn't always manage to do very well. And the music, oh my lord. The music in this game is fast-paced, fun and memorable. And each tune perfectly fits their accompanying stage and character. For instance, Cervantes' theme is somber and piratey, but there's still a real emotional struggle in the song that indicates that there's still a good man in there somewhere. Everything feels suitably epic and amazing, and I think this game's fantastic. Maybe I'm biased, but I just love this game to death, and I think I always will. Now you might be wondering what I think of the Soul Calibur games, and, well, I've never played them.